Hello and welcome back to another episode. In this video I'm gonna show you my game room slash my little video game museum, and I've made a room tour video about 3 years ago, but since that time of course my collection has grown a little bit, and I also added some new furniture and some other stuff to my game room, so it looks slightly different than in my previous video. And I thought I'm gonna start this tour with a little overview of my game room, then we take a quick look into my living room, because I also have a couple of consoles in my living room, and then I'm gonna show you my game room in more detail. So enjoy and let's go! My game room has a size of 20 square meters, which is about 65 square feet. Currently I own 42 video game consoles, doubles and broken systems not included, then 83 handheld and tabletop games, 13 handheld video game systems, 10 plug and plays, 8 computers and 2 Pong consoles, and over 1400 video games. And no, I'm not rich or loaded or anything, just like almost everybody else, I work hard for my money and I'm on a budget. And also I collect video games and computer games now for over 12 years, so with time your collection will grow. In my living room I have here one Xbox 360 Slim, then right next to it is a Nintendo Wii, then down here on the top this is a Blu-ray player, this is a VHS player, one PlayStation 2 Slim, one original Xbox, and yeah, one PlayStation 3, all connected to my HD TV right here. And in here I keep all my controllers that I have upstairs. So there are 2 remote controls and 2 nunchuck controls for the Nintendo Wii. Those are the House of the Dead light gun accessories for the Nintendo Wii. Then here bus controls for the PlayStation 2, SingStar microphones for the PlayStation 2, and yeah, some original Xbox controllers, Xbox 360 controllers, and PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 controllers. And over here are the games that I have upstairs. Right here on the left side we have some strategy guides and walkthroughs of a couple of games. Then here we have my PlayStation 3 games, a couple of Wii games, I don't have that many for the Nintendo Wii, and original Xbox and PlayStation 2 games. And down here are my Xbox 360 games that I have. And the main reason why I have more 360 games than the PlayStation 3 is, number one, it was earlier released, so I stuck for the most part to the Xbox 360, and I also like the controller a little bit better than the PlayStation 3 controller. Okay, next we're gonna go downstairs and I'm gonna show you my game room in more detail. Okay, last time we started on the right side, so now we're gonna start on the left side. And right here we have my first showcase, and in this showcase I have a couple of my tabletop and handheld games. Then down here is a plug and play from Spider-Man. Then here I have two Fallout posters. And yeah, down here are two of my drawings that I did a long time ago, pencil drawings, one parody of Spider-Man and one parody of Harry Potter. Then here in this wooden gas pump I have a couple of my, actually those are all my Commodore 64 tape games that I have. And yeah, down here are sealed 3DO games, most of them Japanese games or versions of games. And also here are also some, nothing really interesting, but anyways. Then down here I have most of my cleaning agents and stuff that I need for cleaning cartridges and video game systems, joysticks or controls or whatever. Then here are some cables, spare cables, let's call them like that. And yeah, here are a lot of my capacitors if I need to replace capacitors in video game systems, and also in here are a lot of capacitors and pliers and all kinds of stuff. Then down here are some old video game magazines and also a couple of books, like for instance the Fallout 3 strategy guide, then Resident Evil Archives, and yeah, some other books. And yeah, those are two universal power supplies. Then here in the top drawer I have all the batteries that I might need for handheld or tabletop games or whatever. And in the second drawer there is a remote for one of my CRT TVs, and yeah, also some other stuff, like here are some memory cards for the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, and yeah, fuses for instance if I have to replace them, and yeah, a lot of other stuff that I need for repairing and cleaning. Then down here are also yeah, here we have a Pong console, a Spectrum 6. Then this is actually a power supply for the TurboGrafx, the PAL version of the TurboGrafx. Then down here are two yeah, tabletop games. Here we have a link cable for the PlayStation 1 and an accessory for the PSP, and here's also a handheld game. And down here is some stuff for my camera and an external hard drive. Then in this box right here are some video goggles, and some other stuff is in here. Okay, then we come to the next showcase, and here we have also some tabletop and handheld games of my collection. And here we have a plug and play Star Wars game. Then we come to the next showcase, also tabletop and handheld games. And here's also a plug and play in the back of Mortal Kombat, and this is a plug and play with Commodore 64 games on it. Then here above I have my Nintendo sign. Here's my old Superman radio. Then here in the first drawer are my boxed handheld games, or most of them. Here we have all kinds of Atari Lynx games. Then here we have the Game Boy Advanced games, boxed ones. Here are some more, and here are my Virtual Boy, my boxed Virtual Boy games. Then here we have boxed Tiger Gamecom games. This one is the more or less the prototype version of Alien vs Predator for the Atari Lynx, but yeah, someone just burned the ROM on some sort of a cartridge, so it's not an official or an original prototype, but I think it's still cool. And here on the side we also have, yeah, here 2 Atari Lynx games also, and 5 Game Gear games with the box. I have a lot more Game Gear games, but most of them are cartridge only actually. Then in the second drawer I have many of my controllers and also all my light guns in here. Yeah, Dreamcast, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1 and so on, Xbox controller. In the second drawer, or actually the third drawer, we have more controllers and also some arcade sticks. Video, TurboGrafx, or let's say Turbo Duo controller right here. Sega Mega Drive, the Laser Active controller, Sega Master System, and so on. And in the fourth and last drawer I have more controllers, Super Nintendo arcade stick, and here we come to Atari joysticks or controllers, NES, NES Advanced here in the back. So yeah, those are the drawers. Then we come to the next showcase, and above it I have my Sega sign. Here in this showcase I have all my Nintendo Game & Watch games displayed. I love to collect those Game & Watch games. I think they look beautiful and also the games are actually pretty cool. So this is a reason why I have pretty big collection of Game & Watch games, but I don't think that I ever will have a whole collection of them because they get more and more expensive on sites like eBay. Then here are my Tiger Arzon handheld systems. Here we have the Model 1, the headgear unit, then this is the Model 2, the Super Screen, and in the back we have the Model 3. This is actually still sealed and I guess I will leave it there forever, at least still sealed, because it's not a great handheld. And here we have one of my games that I have for the system, Star Wars Imperial Assault. And down here at the bottom is my Nintendo Virtual Boy. Then right here we have my Neo Geo sign. Boba Fett is guarding my game room, but we're gonna put him over there for a while. Okay, now here on the top we have some adult stuff for 3DO and for PC. Then here are some adult UMDs for the PSP. Also here there's actually one adult game for the PSP, and here are some UMD movies, some normal ones that I can actually show on camera, because I don't want to have any troubles with with the age, and because they are not proper for displaying because of some nudity or whatever. Okay, here we have also some games for the PSP, and I don't have actually much games for the PSP, but here are some more. And yeah, down here I have all my Philips CDI video CDs, movies. Then here is my Vectrex collection with the light pen, and it also has the Artmaster game/program inside. Then left and right are also the other two programs that were released for the light pen for Vectrex, the Melody Master and also the Animaction, sorry. And above it is the modem for the Philips CDI, and below here are my Vectrex games, all the normal games that were released for the system. I have a complete collection, and I only have one of the 3D games. I guess 4 or 5 3D games were released for the Vectrex. I only have one, and I also don't have the 3D goggles. They are super expensive and they rarely show up on eBay. Then here is my Atari 2600 collection, the boxes. Some very cool ones like Snoopy and the Red Baron is a pretty cool game. Hero, one of my favorite games on the Atari 2600. Star Trek is actually a pretty cool game also for the Atari 2600. And the funny thing is, this one actually came with an overlay for the joystick, which doesn't make much sense since you only have one action button on the controller, on the original controller at least. And here are some more games, and I'm very glad because I found two very hard to get games for my collection that I always wanted to have. One of those games was this one, Alien, and the other one, which I spent years finding one with the original box, was this one, Star Wars, the arcade game. Super hard to find. Not super expensive or anything, but they are very hard to find, especially on eBay. And here are some more Atari 2600 games. This was also a great game that I loved to play as a child with my brother, Dark Chambers, cool game. And here's one Intellivision game that I have. I don't have an Intellivision. Maybe someday, yeah, I can add an Intellivision to my collection. Then here on the top we have Guitar Heroes 2 for the PlayStation 2. Then here are my boxed Commodore Amiga games. Some of them. It's getting also harder and harder to collect for the Commodore Amiga because the prices also become yeah, much they go up in value, let's call it like that. Then underneath here are some of my PC games, or this is actually my PC collection. I have all Wing Commander games, which I'm very proud of. Not all are right here. I also have some on the other side of my game room, but here we have Privateer 2, The Darkening, then the Kilrathi Saga, Wing Commander Prophecy, the Gold Edition with the extra content / the downloadable content, some extra missions. Then here we have again Wing Commander Prophecy, Wing Commander 4, Wing Commander 3, Wing Commander 3. Then here Wing Commander Academy, Wing Commander 2, two versions actually of Wing Commander 2, because the left one is with the 720K low density discs, and the other one is 1.44 megabyte high density discs. And also the speech pack, the accessory pack, and Special Operations 1 and 2. Then Wing Commander 1 with the Secret Missions 1 and 2. Then here are some Terminator games that I have. Huge Shot, great first-person shooter. Terminator Rampage, also actually a great first-person shooter, but it has one flaw, and that is the frame rate of this game. Sadly, it doesn't run very fluently, and it's also a very huge game. And the first Terminator game is also pretty cool. It's more or less an action adventure from a first-person perspective, and this game was a way ahead of its time for the technology of the time, because they thought almost of everything in this game. For instance, you can steal cars, and some cars have a manual transmission, some cars have an automatic transmission, and there's so much detail actually in this game. Yeah, pretty cool one, but like I said, it was way ahead of its time. Then here are also some of my PC games, also a lot of Star Wars games, Dark Forces, Jedi Knight, X-Wing and TIE Fighter, both the CD-ROM editions with the extra content, like for instance with the B-Wing, yeah, so that you can play or use the B-Wing with all the extra missions. Then here Star Wars Shadow of the Empire, Rebel Assault 1 and 2. Down here we continue with more PC games. Also some and down here are more PC games. Then we come to the next shelf, and whoops! On top we have Guitar Hero 1 for the PlayStation 2, and here are more of my Commodore Amiga games. Also some pretty rare titles and very hard to find titles today, like Street Road 1 and 2. Awesome racing games with a lot of tuning. Kind of a predecessor of the Need for Speed Most Wanted or Underground series actually. Here we have another one that I also reviewed, Moonstone, super hard to find and super expensive. Then here we have more Commodore Amiga games. Then underneath here we have my Commodore 64 games. And one of the probably best games that you can find on the Commodore 64, Aliens. Amazing game with actually amazing graphics for its time. Just an awesome game with amazing soundtrack, and yeah, a must-have actually for the Commodore 64. Then down here are my boxed 3DO games. I love to collect for the 3DO, and here are also some infrared controllers for the 3DO, and one light gun for the 3DO, and this is the one with for 1 and 2 players, because it also has a second controller plug. And down here are more of my boxed 3DO games. Then here is one of my 2 CRT TVs. This one has 27 inch screen, and it has 100 Hz, so I can play all, PAL and also NTSC consoles on this TV. And underneath here are my boxed NES games. First row, and actually behind there is a second row also full with games. Yeah, I guess that's enough, because I would have to remove all the games in the front to show you the rest of my collection. Okay, but let's continue with here on top. This is Guitar Freaks. This is actually the predecessor of Guitar Heroes for the PlayStation 1, and this was only released in Japan. Pretty cool guitar. And yeah, right next to it is my Master Replica Darth Vader lightsaber. Then in here are most of my video game consoles. Dreamcast, PlayStation 1. This one is modded with one of those mod chips that I can play also Japanese and North American games on the system. Then here Atari 2600 Junior, a Heavy 6 Atari 2600, Grundig Philips CDI, Atari Jaguar, JVC XI. Then down here we have Sega Mega Drive Model 1 with a Sega Mega CD Model 2 and a 32X attached to it. Down here we have a Philips CDI. Next to it are 2 external floppy drives. Down here we have a Commodore CD TV with the remote and also mouse for the Commodore CD TV. Down here in this bag is one of my Commodore Amiga computers. Then here is a Commodore Amiga 2000 keyboard with with the adapter cable, so I can use it on my Amiga CD32. Then two power supplies are in the back, and here's a hard disk and extra RAM for a Commodore Amiga computer. Then here are more of my consoles. Neo Geo CD Model 1, NES, Master System, Super Nintendo, original Xbox, Nintendo GameCube, black one, 3DO FC10. This is a Multimega, Sega Multimega, also known as CDX in North America. It's also a combination of the Sega Mega Drive and the Sega Mega CD. And here we have an Odyssey 2001 Pong console. Here's my other Amiga 500 computer, and down here are a lot of joysticks, most of them 9-pin joysticks, so they were more or less made for Commodore computers like Commodore 64 or the Commodore Amiga. They could be, or you could also use them for the Atari ST, and actually I guess you can also use them for Sega Mega Drive, and yeah, there are also some PC joysticks in here, or flight sticks. Then here we have Neo Geo CD Model 2, NES again, Master System again, Super Nintendo again, original Xbox Crystal version, a silver Nintendo GameCube. Here's my Amiga CD32 with an expansion expansion disk drive. Then here we have PlayStation 2 first model, a Commodore 64, then two tape drives for the Commodore 64, also called dataset. Here's the disk drive for the Commodore 64. And down here are many boxed controllers and some other accessories. Here we have a boxed Vectrex controller. Then here, for instance, we have an adapter for the 3DO, so that you can use Super Nintendo controllers on the 3DO. And here in the back is the, I guess, the Prestige edition, was it called, of Call of Duty Black Ops. And here is for the FC10 video CD adapter, brand new, never used actually. And yeah, controller for the TurboGrafx 16, the Turbo Tab, and some other stuff for 3DO and NEC consoles. Okay, then above we have also two showcases. Here in this one we have one 5th anniversary Resident Evil DVD, Wesker's Report, Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Game Boy, sorry, Game Gear TV tuner, Maestro Music wand with the game for the PlayStation 1, the DVD glasses from A-Track for the PlayStation 2. Then here we have a Zenith Game Boy Advance in the Zelda edition, this is this one. Then Resident Evil Gaiden for the Nintendo Game Boy Color, one of my two Nintendo Game Boy Color games. Then here we have the Turbo Express, the handheld version of the TurboGrafx 16. Here we have some Nintendo Power Mints, Invisimals for the PSP, boxed Atari Lynx Model 2, here with the Atari Lynx Model 1, my PSP, the silver one, then Duke Nukem Forever, Balls of Steel edition. Then here in the back we have Lord of the Rings, a plug and play. Here we have an adult Atari 2600 game. Actually it's a double feature with Bachelor Party and Gigolo. Here we have the Sega Game Gear, Tiger Gamecom Pocket Pro. Here is another one of those adult Atari 2600 double features, Lady in Waiting and Beat 'em and Eat 'em. Here in the back we have some Amiga games. And down here we have the Fallout Collector's Edition, the Lunchbox. Here in the back we have Star Wars Pringles, still sealed. Then here we have a boxed Tiger Gamecom Model 1, Gamecom, a boxed, actually a sealed version of a Gamecom game, Resident Evil 2. Then here are my two Sega Nomads. This is completely original, and this is more or less completely modified with an LCD screen with a new one, because the old one was broken, and it also has a region switch / 50-60 Hertz switch. And this is the power battery power pack for the Sega Nomad. Then down here are most of my PC stuff. So we have here some blank CDs, an external DVD drive, picture of my fiance. Then here are more programs and a couple of games for my PC. This is my old Dazzle box, which I used to record video game footage. This is my new Dazzle box, which I use now for recording most of the video game footage, and there are also some couple of programs here in the back. This is my emergency mini fridge. Then here, this is my computer that I use almost daily, mostly for editing my my videos and for all the other stuff. It's nothing amazing or anything. It's an Intel quad-core 2 with 2.83 gigahertz and 8 gigabytes of RAM, and this one has Windows 7 on it. Here is my Everything I Know in Life I Learned from Video Games poster. Some funny lines. Then here on top I have two light rifles for the original Xbox. This is the Sniper Scope rifle and this is the Stealth Scope. The main difference between both of them are this one is green and this one can be used only for 50 Hertz TVs, and this is the black one, and this one also works with TVs with 100 Hertz. Then here in this bag is my Pioneer CLD A100 Laserdisc player and Laserdisc and laser active video game system with the Sega pack, so that I can play Sega Genesis games, Sega CD games, and also the Mega LD laser active games, which were only made for this system. Then here on this side we have a boxed Mega Drive Model 2. Here we have a movie card, an expansion for the original PlayStation, so that you can watch video CDs, digital video cartridge for the Philips CDI, Barcode Battler, Kongman, electronic toy. Actually, here we have Dragon Quest, the plug-and-play game, Firefox F7 tabletop game with box from Grandstand, Modern Warfare 2 Prestige Edition with the night vision goggles, a flight stick for the original Xbox, Resident Evil 4, also GameCube in Resident Evil 4 edition with the game Resident Evil 4. Lethal Enforcers for Super Nintendo and for Mega CD, both with the light gun, the Justifier. Then down here are my Sega Mega Drive and a couple of Sega Genesis games, and here on the right side are my Sega Master System games. Don't have that many games for those systems, but most of the stuff that I have is actually pretty cool. So one of my favorite games on the Sega Genesis, Outlander, pretty cool game because it's basically Mad Max. Then down here we have a boxed Nintendo 64, boxed Turbo Duo, PC Engine Duo. Here is my very old DOS computer. This is a 486 with 66 megahertz and 16 megabytes of RAM, and it also has the turbo button. Which means that you could switch the PC from 33 MHz to 66 MHz depending on the game. Then here we have the Justifier for the PlayStation 1 and Mad Dog McCree with the Peacemaker for the Philips CDI. Then here we have a boxed Sega Master System, and I also added the 3D goggles into this box. Here we have a video driver. This is more or less a plug and play, which works with VHS tapes. So then here we have Game Track controllers for the PlayStation 2, the Hori Power Shuffle controller for the PlayStation 1 actually, Top Shot Pilot tabletop game, Donkey Konga pack with the controller and the game, laser scope for the NES, boxed Flight Stick Pro for the 3DO, Hyperboy accessory for the Nintendo GameCube, awesome accessory, boxed Vectrex, then here an Aura Interactor and the Action Max, which is basically like video driver, so it is kind of a video game console that uses VHS tapes. Then here is Steel Battalion, the second release of Steel Battalion, Line of Contact. This is the version with the blue buttons. Box TurboGrafx 16 and 2 arcade sticks, the Turbo Stick and the Ultimate Super Stick for the TurboGrafx 16. Atari Jaguar CD or CD-ROM drive. Here we have a Neo Geo CDC in the box. Heroes of Might and Magic Complete Edition. Awesome series, the Heroes of Might and Magic series. Then here, this is the TurboGrafx, the PAL version of the TurboGrafx, and we also have here a CDI keyboard controller, or actually a keyboard. Then here we have Two Worlds, then Tommy Racing, Danger Deko, the controller, and also inside I have Danger Deko 2 for the PlayStation 1. Here we have a Mega CD Model 1 boxed, PC Engine, the first release, Gold Star 3DO, a pretty rare Sanyo Tri 3DO in the box and complete. And here we have a Japanese version of an FC1 3DO. Then here are my Mega LD games for the Laser Active. This is Triadstone, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Triadstone, and yeah, some other stuff like Roller Coaster and so on. Laserdisc games. Then here are my PlayStation 2 games. Yeah, Real World Golf, those kind of an expansion for the Game Track controllers for the PlayStation 2. Then here we have a Star Wars poster. Here are my original Xbox games. Here are my Nintendo GameCube games. Also very odd one. Odama, pretty interesting and funny game. It's basically a mishmash of a pinball game, strategy game, war game, whatever. Pretty funny, and this one also came with a microphone because you have to yell commands to your soldiers and so on. It's pretty cool. Then here we have my second CRT TV. This is actually the very first TV that I ever owned. If I remember correctly, I got this one for my 16th or 17th birthday back in the days, and this is a 50 Hz PAL TV. I guess it has it has a 20-inch screen, and this one is great for light gun games basically. And yeah, to the left and to the right side we have a lot of cables. So to the left we have, in here I have all kinds of SCAR, Cinch and S-Video cables, Sega and Nintendo cables. Neo Geo cables and power supplies, then here Nintendo power supplies, and here on the right side all kinds of other cables and cables for the computer, then Xbox and PlayStation cables, yeah, all different kinds of power supplies like Atari or whatever, and here are power supplies for all the Sega stuff that I have. Then underneath the TV, here's the remote for this TV, and here are all my loose NES games, game cartridges I have for the NES. And down here are all my loose Super Nintendo games that I have. Castlevania 4, Wing Commander Secret Missions, Wing Commander 1, Lord of the Rings, Pilot Wings, and so on, Star Wars again, and another Star Wars. So yeah, here are my loose NES and Super NES games. And down here are my loose Sega Game Gear games that I have. Then here are a couple of loose Atari 2600 games. Here in the back are some external hard drives and also a couple of other cables that I have. And here are some Mega Drive and Genesis games, loose ones. Here we have Lynx game, Atari Jaguar, and here we have some loose Virtual Boy games, like Pinball, Tennis, Waterworld, Tiller Boxer, Red Alarm, and Mr. Funky Bowling. And here on the back we have my boxed Super Nintendo games, and also I have both Wing Commander games, of course, for the Super Nintendo. Like I said before, I'm a huge Wing Commander fan, and also Outlander on the Super Nintendo. Let's have this one. Then here are my only games that I have for the Nintendo Game Boy: Zelda, Tennis, Super Mario Land 2, and Kirby's Dream Land. And here's my second Game Boy Color game, Asterix. Then here are my Sega 32X games. Nothing really special, those are the most common titles that you will find. Metalhead, Virtua Racing Deluxe, Star Wars Arcade, of course, Doom, and Virtua Fighter. Also a very small collection actually. Then here are my Commodore CD TV titles that I have for the system: The Hound of Baskerville, Sherlock Holmes, again actually, it's the Assassin's game collection. Then here SimCity, and classic board games, and so on. Then here are my Commodore Amiga CD32 games: Pirates Gold, the Lotus trilogy, Defender of the Crown 2, one of the most sought after game on the system, and a couple more here. And down here are some old PC classics like Wing Commander Privateer, SEAL Team, Noctopolis, actually pretty good adventure, Strike Commander, Commander Armada, and NHL. Okay. Then here are my Philips CDI games that I have for the system. And here we come to my Atari Jaguar collection, boxed cartridge games that I have. And this one is actually a CD title, also pretty rare one, Iron Soldier 2. Of course, one of the best games on this system, Alien vs Predator. And I also have Tempest 2000, and this is actually still sealed. I know it's an awesome game, and maybe someday I'm gonna open it and play it. And here are, yeah, my Atari Jaguar CD games that I have for the system. Blue Lightning, BitGrit, Myst Demo CD, and Braindead, and Highlander. Then here are my TurboGrafx 16 and PC Engine games. I only have a couple of those with the big box, at least the TurboGrafx versions had the big boxes. But the PC Engine games were only released in those jewel cases. HQ2, Shapeshifter CD game, the TurboGrafx 16, here are more. Of course I also have Street Fighter 2 and the parody version actually, this is Strip Fighter 2. Not really a great game, but it's actually a pretty funny game. And also some other Adventure Island, Die Hard, GSHQ 1, and so on and so on, Operation Wolf, Thunderblade. Then here are some CD-ROM games for the PC Engine. And 1 month ago or so I finally added Castlevania Rondo of Blood to my collection, Dracula X actually, Rondo of Blood. Because, yeah, it's also not a cheap game or anything, and I wanted to have it for a long time. Okay, then here we have, or better let's say, here we start with my PlayStation 1 games. Here are some import games that I have. Dark Forces, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Parasite Eve, Final Fantasy Chronicles with Chrono Trigger. Here are some Japanese games, the Merry Christmas edition of Maestro Music, Kenki, a game for the Power Shuffle controller, Super Parodius, I guess this is called, Time Gal and Revenge of the Ninja, Laserdisc games, awesome conversions of the arcade. Then here we have Thunderstorm and Road Blaster, which is basically Road Avenger and Cobra Command, also from the arcades. Those are pretty awesome, and yeah, they are more rare, both of those games. This one with Time Gal and Revenge of the Ninja, but they were also released for the Sega Saturn. So if you're interested in Laserdisc games, you might want to check those out. Those are my PAL games that I have for the PlayStation 1. And here starts my Sega CD and Sega Mega CD collection. Also like the big boxes of the Sega CD, and I also have a couple of rare titles like Hopeful Mail, Snatcher of course, Dark Wizard, and of course Wing Commander. The only version of Wing Commander 1 with voice acting. And here are my PAL Mega CD games and one Japanese Sega Mega CD game. Yeah, I actually have two sealed games. Surgical Strike, because the PAL version is pretty rare and I got it sealed. And I also have it already for the Sega CD, North American version, and there it is pretty common. And yeah, here we have Star Wars Chess. Then here are my only games that I have for the Nintendo 64, because I got it pretty recently. 4 games: GoldenEye, Formula 1, World Grand Prix, Donkey Kong 64 and Super Mario 64. And here are some 3DO games which I have only in the jewel cases, not big boxes or anything. Stamina, pretty cool game. Snowdrop. Then here's some more. Then this is actually a pretty cool fighting game, Ultraman. It's very cheesy, but what's really interesting about this game is you have kind of a bonus stage or a bonus attack before you start a round, and you only have a couple of those, and if you want you can activate this bonus stage and you can attack your opponent with fighter jets, and if you succeed with this attack then the enemy will start with with less energy in the fight. So this is also pretty interesting and actually also pretty funny. So those are also some video games. Then here are my Neo Geo CD games that I have for the system: Metal Slug 2, Rebel Chase, Neo Geo Drift Out. Also bought this pretty recent, actually 3 months ago or so. And yeah, Fast Bubble and so on and so on. Then here are also some games for the Neo Geo CD. Last Blade, awesome fighting game. King of the Monsters. Then down here are my Dreamcast games that I have for the system. Actually also started pretty recently with this collection, but a good friend of mine helped me out a lot with this collection. Then here we have a very old laptop, and this laptop has Windows XP on it. Then I also have another laptop which is a new model than this one upstairs, which has Windows Vista, and down here I have a very old Pentium computer with 450 MHz and 512 MB of RAM, and this one has Windows 95 on it. So in the end I almost have for each system a computer: Windows 95, Windows XP, then upstairs Windows Vista, DOS computer with Windows 3.11, and in the end my normal computer with Windows 7, so I can play almost every game that I want, because I also have all the operating systems for all those games. Then here, this is my soldering station. There are also some tools inside which I use for soldering. Then here we have a movie poster of one of my favorite movies of all time, Brancaleone, TurboGrafx 16 sign, and here we also have another drawing, a parody of Lord of the Rings, where I applied my face on every character, kind of like from Mad Magazine, which I liked a lot. And here we have my world domination certificate, so if you ever wondered who owns the world, it's me. And finally here we have also another drawing that I did a long time ago, one of my favorite animes from my childhood, Captain Halbach. And this is basically my game room. And now we're at the end of my game room tour video. I really hope you enjoyed the show. Maybe see you next time. Take care. Bye!